We're super glad to have you join us. You're watching Enterprise Friday on Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. We are about to head to our newspaper review segments, but before that, if you haven't already, please join us and have a say in what we say by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV7 and do visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Our guests for this segment are Obioluwa Taiwo, a public affairs analyst, and Barrister Evans Ufeli. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And happy Friday.
Yeah. Pleasure.
Yes, exactly. So without much ado, let's move on to our newspaper review segments, and we're kicking off with the Guardian newspaper. And the big story there says, Heatwave, 15 Nigerians die in Saudi Arabia as a death toll exceeds 1,000. And we have an excerpt here that says, the toll from this year's Hajj exceeded. Those who passed away during the spiritual exercise in Saudi Arabia, including a female pilgrim who committed suicide, are from Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Kwara, and Lagos State. And it's stated here, each year tens of thousands of pilgrims attempt to perform the Hajj through irregular channels as they cannot afford the often costly official permits. And it adds, without official permits, they could not access air-conditioned spaces provided by Saudi authorities for the 1.8 million authorized pilgrims to cool down after hours of walking and praying outside. Gentlemen, why should people go through such a peculiar situation in order to do what they need to do spiritually? Let me start with you, Pastor.
Well, spiritual matters are matters of the heart. They are personal issues, okay? But as much as we sojourn in our spiritual endeavor, safety is a general rule of humanity, okay? Not just the Muslims doing Hajj. There are some Christians, I've seen pastors who fast until they pass on, okay? I've seen people who go on religious exercises and from there they exit this world, okay? But people who go on pilgrimage, they should know that they have loved ones. That is, they have people connected to them one way or the other. As much as we embrace the faith of the religion, and it's a time for sober reflection and spiritual cleansing, we should also know that safety is paramount. It is not the injunction of the religious faith, not any have seen, that in the process of worshiping your God, you should die. Maybe there are some who have been martyred. That one, we understand that as a result of their faith, they were, either killed by the haters of the religion or circumstances, and so they are martyred by all stretch of the imagination. But to deliberately set out and like even the Quran said that if you cannot afford it, it's not compulsory you go, okay? It's not enough to have the airfare and the visa. There's what they call a heat wave around this period of the year over there, you understand? Such that you need sufficient income, one, and you also need to get the right permits to be able to stay in places where you have air conditioners. Yes, it's the Middle East. By this time, it's very hot, and all that. So I just believe that people should be more cautious. I do not think that these persons went there deliberately to die. I don't think so. I think some supervening forces may have overwhelmed them by virtue of where they stayed and all that. And I learned that the exercise is a rigorous one. I have a classmate that is there. He's been sending me pictures for the past 1 week. I have an insight into perhaps what the weather could have been, what the condition of life could have been. This may also be an opportunity for us to say that those who have enough could have also assisted those who didn't have enough to stay in places where they will get safety. But by and large, like I said before, the issue of religion is personal. I mean, I don't even know why I'm doing the analysis on it, except that I was asked the question on the spot.
Okay, I don't know if you agree with his submission. As much as we try to generalize our analysis, some people might want to be martyred in such ways because we've seen it countless times. They would rather prefer to die, while doing these things, while on pilgrimage and all. I don't know. Do you buy the idea of or his submission?
Going for pilgrimage as either a Christian or a Muslim, there are processes and there are principles involved, and there are also laws that are involved. If you are leaving your country, you should be on visits. If you are going for such acts, that should be visitation or thereby as a permit. And if you are going for a visitation, for instance, if I'm leaving my house to visit you, I must understand where you are and what you are doing at that particular time, and what kind of comfort do you have for me before I take my leave from my place of abode. So you can see that there are steps, there are dynamics around all of this conversation. So if I'm leaving Nigeria, for me, like he said, for me, religion really is the thing of the heart. But in as much as the thing of the heart, there are principles that also guide different religious practices. What's the cost implication for me to get to Saudi Arabia? Do I need to book an hotel? Do I need to get some permits? Do I need to do some medical screening? Each time we have this kind of debts, especially the numbers going up, the first thing that comes to my mind, each time we have this kind of conversation, how did we get to this point? Is it possible that we don't have a principle? Or is it possible that we refuse to obey the principle? Both the principle of the country and the principle of traveling out to a particular place, either for enjoyment or for preview. Because if you don't have the capacity, don't even bother to start the process. There is a sentiment in Nigeria that we all care for one another. Other country, it's not the same process. Let me give you a typical example. A friend of mine just returned from UK. So he left the school to see a friend. Along the line, he met a friend on the way. So he said, oh, good. It's like you're on the maybe Buckingham Road or something. Okay, let's quickly get to see my big sister, who is somewhere about 2 streets down the lane. Guess what? That sister was not pre-informed. That's number one. The sister was not well prepared. That's number two, right? The sister possibly did not have the budget at that time to cater for the two of them. Guess what? They got to the door of the sister. She refused to open the door.
She can call the police for
it's as simple as that.
You don't barge into people. It's only here we do that.
I want to go to Jerusalem, but I don't have the money now, so I can't go. It's simple. Because there are things you meet over there that has nothing to do with sentiment or religion. They will not even look at you based on religion. They will ask you, do you have this family? Do you have that family? You don't have. Please, stay by side. And don't forget, some people will not even get to the Holy Land. They will only enter the country, not entering the Holy Land. There's a difference between entering Saudi Arabia and the difference between going to the Holy Land. Some even go there to do what? For business transaction. We saw some women last year. They went to be transacting gold here and there, and they were apprehended and they were back to their country. So they went to Saudi Arabia, but they didn't get to the Mecca Holy Land.
All right, that's a good one. Let's move on to the Daily Independent for today. And the big story here says Kano government says Sanusi remains emir despite a court judgment. And the rider asks police to eject Ado Bayero from Nasarawa Mini Palace. On the top strip of the same newspaper, protesters storm Kaduna Government House to demand El Rufai's arrest. Court declares that 3 Ondo LCDAs created by Akeredolu illegal. And on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, only court order will make us vacate Rivers LG Secretariat, and they're coming from the IGP. The right, there are no crisis in Rivers. It's peaceful, not under siege, says Fubara. But Stefan Sufeli, we did discuss this yesterday, and every other day it's a new information coming from Rivers State and Port Harcourt particularly. And right now, the Inspector General of Police is saying only court will make them leave the premises of the LG Secretariats. How do you
Yes, I think
this?
it's because of the looming danger that this portends. I mean, we have seen the warring parties make threats, okay, from weakest loyalists to the outgoing local government chairman to the incoming chairman of the caretaker committee. The River State has been a place of threats. You know, people's lives are threatened. 2 days ago, some persons died. Three in total.
It is now officially 3.
Officially 3 in total that died. So, if the responsibility of the police is still to protect lives and properties, and by virtue of the conduct of the public and their leaders, lives and properties are threatened, police will take over the scene. It's normal.
Okay.
Yes. Police will do what we call preventive investigation to ensure that no life is lost other than the 3 already recorded. Now, he said only a court order. Of course, the governor cannot, the police cannot take orders from the governor. But when you want to stretch the concept of law, because police defense is the exclusive list. So the governor cannot, except a governor that have some good rapport, that have some good relationship with the CP or the IG, then the IG can assist the governor. They can have some kind of, governor can weigh some powers. But where it has to do with conflict like this, where the police have to be neutral, they will tell you that yes, they will take over the place. They will take over the place because they have to protect life and properties, and that's exactly what they're doing. And that is what River State needs. That is what, because if the police stay neutral, stay away from the scene or the locus, you are going to record more deaths. Okay? Because Fubara, having told the people that the administrators should take over from the outgoing local government chairman, turned around the next day and appointed caretaker committee, chairman of caretaker committees, and wanted them to resume immediately, and also went further to bring auditors to come and audit the account of the outgoing local government chairman. So you see, that is an accumulation of threats itself. The local government outgoing ones, the incoming ones, the public, the people. The best option is exactly what the police did. That was very proactive. Take over the secretariat. Let no one go in or come out until that matter has been resolved. Because there is no way you will pull the police out without an order. And that order will be coming from a court, possibly that have made a ruling as regards what should happen. So it's a good one. That is the best way to.
All right. So while the police does what it is paid to do you think that the Fubara personified personality would not have the caretaker committee members start operation without necessarily visiting or taking ownership of their LGAs? Because he has done it. The House of Assembly was not, he created a mini House of Assembly and they did all they were supposed to do. So do you think it's equally going to be different in this particular case, knowing what Fubara is known for?
Governor Fubara of Rivers State, he has positioned himself to be a gentle lion who can roar and sometimes bite, while sometimes also keep quiet, pretending not to understand what is going on. There are principles and there are laws that guide the local government administration. For instance, when a chairman and the councillors finish their tenure, the first thing that takes place usually is that the council manager takes over the administration of the local government immediately before the caretaker committee.
Which he did.
No, he brought the caretaker committee.
No, he started with having administrators take over, right? Before
No, the administrators, are they the council manager or their sole administrator? There are two things entirely. A sole administrator is a political appointee. The council manager is a civil servant. So the council manager is expected to take over the running of the affairs of the local government. Not less than 3 months to 6 months. Why? When you do that, he or she be able to do the proper evaluation of the activities of the local government executive in the last 3 or 4 years. So that by the time the caretakers are coming in, there will be a white paper or a red paper to be released to them for them to work with. You want to have caretaker committee, at the same time you want to audit, it's not possible now. You can't eat your cake and have, it's not possible. Under the law, it is not possible. You can't do the two at the same time. Even if we are in the same party, even if we are in the same caucus, it is not possible. Because there are laws, there are processes. The laws that put those things in place, the law is not stupid now. Because each time you're having the local government chairman, we have what we call the council manager and the council treasurer. Two of them, they are the major advisor to the chairman. Because the chairman is naive. The chairman is a novice, in quotes, professionally, even legally, even statutorily, including the supervisory councillors, including the councillors. The three cadres are naive statutorily. So the council treasurer and the council manager, two of them do what? They will give professional and statutory advice to the chairman and the executive on how to run the administration. So if these two office holders are not part of the process, there will be anarchy. And that is why the police has taken over the local government secretariat, which is a good way to start. Kudos to IG for that neutrality, for that professional preventive security measures.
Yes, very well said. And let's finally move on to our last daily for today, coming from the Punch newspaper. Big story here is cholera. The death toll rises to 37 as Lagos records 401 cases. And the writer here says federal government orders water analysis as outbreak spreads in Lagos, Ogun, Osun. Cross River activates emergency response. 5 hospitalized. On the top stream of the same newspaper, federal government probes 2.7 trillion naira subsidy debt and list auditor general. Naira slums loans push public debt to 121 trillion, and that's coming from the DMO. And on the bottom stream of the same newspaper, protesters demand El-Rufai's trial for alleged 423 billion naira theft. And also Otedola raises First Bank of Nigeria stake with over 18 billion naira shares. Gentlemen, we have very interesting stories here, but for the want of time, all of us to maybe take one or two of them. But let's start off with the cholera issue. The federal government orders water analysis as outbreak spreads in Lagos, Ogun, and other states. So when we talk about analysis of water, which the water are we even talking about here? About water constructed by the federal government or visit homes.
No, we're talking about general use of water now. I mean, cholera is a waterborne disease. Yes, so it's waterborne disease. So what they're doing is not out of place. The kind of water people take determines how healthy they can become. And if you have a place where you have water pollution, or you have air pollution, and then you are in the rainy season and your environment is dirty, okay? Lagos is not as clean as it used to be. Even some of these states, Ogun State is even worse. Okay? Waste management is a very big issue. Because you can even have a clean state, but if waste management is not properly handled, death will still spread back to society through water, through air, through whatever it is. The cause of cholera is this fact that you have mismanagement of waste. Okay? And when you mismanage waste, waste will get into water. Yes, it will get into water. And once it gets into water and people are consuming the water, they are using it for daily activity. There's no way you'll not have an outbreak of disease. If it's not cholera, it could be some other waterborne disease. There are many of them. Okay? Typhoid is part of it. Even tuberculosis is part of it. Okay? So you are going to have an outbreak. Now we have a case at hand. Okay? The government will do all kinds of testing. And not just the analysis, water analysis. They will do other analysis to get the root cause. Okay? It's called medical examination. So they are going to do all that. That is why they have a Ministry of Health. Their function is to ensure that society is safe from pestilence, from epidemics. So let them go ahead and do all that. Apart from that, you know, the WHO, UNESCO, and one other international organization, we had a meeting 2 days ago, right? We are also waiting for the outcome of that. But it's good that there's a collective effort. I mean, the government is doing something very fundamental to ensure that you have this. Except that in some places, the children are not in school. Why in other places, the children are in school? At this time, I suggested 2 days ago that, or 3 days ago, that the school should not open for now. Because don't undermine this disease. Yeah, it should not open for now, but we can still see people, children going to school, especially the private schools. The government schools, some of the
some of that closed.
Yeah, they've closed down. Yes, and that's a good. So let the children be indoors so that you can contain and quarantine whatever it is the situation is, pending when they get a hold of where the thing is coming from and how to address it.
Now, Obe, you would agree with me, in the 80s, you know, it's easy to turn on your tap and there's water in it. In every public primary school in Nigeria, they have water sources from a particular source done by the government of that area. Right now, 2024, every household is a water dispensing company because we all have boreholes in our houses, and it's difficult to analyze, to moderate, to know the quality of the water that we use, and so on and so forth. There was a viral video trending on the social media of someone who booked a shortlet in Lekki, and on turning on the tap, the water was so dirty, literally. And you ask yourself, if as a posh area as great as Lekki, you know, could have that, and how much more on other areas? So how do you think it's even possible for the government to analyze water when it's not in control of the source of water that goes into every home in Nigeria?
Having potable water in Nigeria is a serious concern. You know, for me, looking back at what you've just said, I feel like crying for my country. Is this cholera outbreak supposed to be one of the sober reflection to an average Nigerian, especially the leaders, that how do we get to this point? Like you rightly posited, while growing up, the only thing I know is that when I wake up in the morning, I go to the tap to do what? To wash my face.
We clean water.
We clean water from the government.
Yes.
Not from my family. And after that, we do what? You go to your, maybe you do prayer or you go about your normal activity before going to school. So, along the line, you find a way that you cut off that sequence. And here we are. It's possible that we're even sitting on a gunpowder as we sit right now. The cholera is like we are still dancing around the real music. There are evidential figures that a lot more is already underground, coming up beyond cholera.
So which means we've not learned anything yet.
We've not learned anything yet. We've not learned anything yet. Government must rise back on stage. It's not the time to say government should rise up to their responsibility. No, they should go back into the starting point. They have to go back to the start. How did we get to this point? That I have to be the CEO of my power holding company. I have to be the CEO of my water regulatory board, whereby I use my meter to regulate my water in the morning. And when I'm not at home, my kids, my family, I'm not expected to enjoy the full gushing of water until I return. So I'm the CEO of my own family water regulatory board. How did we get to this point? And when we talk about waterborne diseases, when we talk about communicable diseases, the rich are not exempted. Everyone is included. No one at this time is above the law of cholera.
Very true. We can go on and on and on. And just like I did say, I think it's very important, coming from COVID-19 and all that happened during that time. I think it's very important that government see reasons to do the needful in order to avoid such happening again and again in Nigeria. I'd love to say thank you to Okwe for being part of our show. But thank you so very much. And I promise you that both gentlemen will be here to take us on our main conversation for today. But when we return, Federal High Court in Kano sacks Lamido Sanusi and reinstates Ado Bayero as Emir. We will be right back in a bit. Please don't go anywhere.